For several years now, Los Angeles County has been extending its Goldline, taking it out into the eastern suburbs. The Goldline is one of a handful of their metro rails. Originally, it went from Union Station in downtown LA, which is now a large homeless encampment, over to Pasadena. That was it. But then the construction began, and the Goldline made its way out to Arcadia. A couple years ago, it reached Azusa. Now the project is going through San Dimas, my old neighborhood. Traffic is already awful in the state, in all the major cities and counties, and one can imagine how much worse it's made when they're building new metro rails. My friend Erica, still living in the area, as well as myself, always knew what the result would be. Erica lives down the street from a small hill, the South Hills as they're called. This hill was a perfect spot to pitch a tent, one that won't immediately be discovered in the thick bushes off one of the many off-beaten paths. And many a tent were pitched. The whole Metro Extension project, as Eric and I both knew, was a plan to spread the homeless population out into the suburbs. She always tells me about the homeless people who come onto her property and use her hose to take a shower. A couple years ago, the city finally got around to cleaning the hill out. Of course, that was a couple years ago, and the tents have since been repitched. Erica also tells me that the city shuttles in mentally ill people from around the county and brings them to a facility in the middle of town. Then they release them with nowhere to go. I was here in the city almost a month ago. The whole place looks much different. You never had to dodge bicyclists in the middle of Arrow Highway. You never saw tables set up on the sidewalks with people selling pots and plates or whatever it was. Homeless folks now sit in the middle of the islands. One night, suffering a sugar craving, it happens after weeks of sobriety, I went to a donut shop I used to frequent regularly. The donut shop was across the street from the mental health facility. As soon as I stepped out of the car, a guy in a hoodie and flip-flops approaches me. "Hey man," he says, "I don't need any money, but could you call my mom?" I told him my phone was broken, which it was as I showed him the cracked screen, but it was only to be polite. He asked again, saying that I could hold it while he spoke. "I'll be honest," I told him, "I really don't want to. Sorry." Then I explained my reasoning even further. Suppose I said that I drive off, and then your mom calls me back up asking where you're at. I said this fairly sharply. "Oh," he said, "you're having a bad day." "Most of my days," I said. And then I locked my car and went in the shop. I think I ordered a lemon jelly and a cinnamon donut, 1 bottle of whole milk. As I'm paying, I see that he's followed me into the store. "I like your style," he says upon seeing me. I wasn't trying to have style. I only know how to be direct, or mostly direct. "I don't mean to be an asshole," I said finally, pushing the door open with my foot and walking back to my car. As I drove off, I saw him bugging a young lady who was coming out from the liquor store in the same plaza. As I drove and ate my donuts and got crumbs all over, I thought some more on it. There had to be a payphone somewhere around here. This still exists. If he had asked for change, then I could have perhaps provided. What if he was using my phone for other, more illegal purposes, like asking for a drug hookup? I tried to give him a no, but he couldn't respect my answer the first time. Insistent transients, half-naked people stationed in the middle of the islands, others screaming on the sidewalks. These inconveniences are on top of a series of murders that have happened recently. Indeed, my sister, a hairstylist, had a client who was murdered just a few months back. He was stabbed to death in the middle of the day. These are things we never used to hear or read about 10 years ago. During my phone chat with Erica, she also informed that San Dimas has sued the county over the rail. It seems they don't wish to make it a depot. San Dimas apparently won, so now the Goldline will go through San Dimas and onward to Laverne. At least that's something. I should say, that I have no hate towards homeless people, truly so. A lot of homeless people have serious mental health problems, or they deal with addictions. They might have suffered abuse, or were military veterans, and then likely lied in the battle by the chicken hawks in Congress and the White House. I don't hate these impoverished souls. But it is a lie to say that homeless encampments are without risk. For a best example, people often say that California is earthquake country. Yes, the state sits on top of the San Andreas Fault, and one day that'll burst, allowing for half the state to become a tomb out in the middle of the Pacific. For better or worse, I'm not sure. But when there's even a minor tremor in any part of the state, it's big news. No, California is fire country. Despite the budget surplus, the state can't be bothered to clear out the dry brush. Just blame global warming as they do. Add to that scenario a campfire or a meth torch, and holy blazes. So I do feel we have a right to evict them from certain places, especially if they're occluding pathways and found to be doing drugs. Some of us also use those trails, albeit to support rather than degrade our mental health. Such a situation doesn't help anyone.